The social scientists have been studying bias and prejudice since the 1950s. For many years, they thought that bias and prejudice manifested in only one form, and we now call that explicit biases. Now, a person with explicit bias links groups to stereotypes. That grouping might be based on race, gender, LGBTQ, etc. And those stereotypes are always going to be negative when we're talking about explicit bias, because the linkage is based on animus and hostility towards that group. Now, these stereotypes in that person's head can impact perceptions and behavior, producing discriminatory behavior. And with explicit bias, this is all conscious. The person knows they don't like those groups, might even tell you why they don't, which is what forms their stereotypes. And the discriminatory behavior is either intentional or, at the very least, they don't care. But then, by accident, the social psychologists discovered implicit biases. Now, implicit biases share some characteristics with explicit bias. We still link individuals to stereotypes, but they aren't necessarily negative. They might be positive, they might be negative, they might be neutral, because it's not necessarily based on animus and hostility. These implicit biases are automatic. They pop into our head without any intention on our part, and this can happen outside of our conscious awareness. Now, despite that fact, these implicit biases can impact our perceptions, and they can impact our behavior. And this discriminatory behavior might be wholly unintentional. And in fact, implicit biases manifest in even well-intentioned people. You may reject biases and prejudice at the conscious level, but you still have implicit biases. Your implicit biases may not be compatible with your conscious attitudes. So this is what happens. Someone might say, because of my modern attitudes, I must be bias-free. Wrong. Your implicit biases may not match your conscious attitudes and beliefs. Or biases are other people's problems, not mine. Wrong. All of us have implicit biases, and they manifest in policing, and they manifest in all professions.